Hi everyone, this is Dee with the Paper Drawer. I wanted to share with you probably like part 3 of the process for the stacked envelope file folders. These are the minis. I decided to try a mini and they're pretty cute. They're 4x6s, but they're made exactly the same way as the larger ones are, and there's 2 in my Etsy shop. So I want to show you these, and I want to just give you a few tips if you want to try and make them. They're a lot of fun. And then I have another idea I will show you. But let me start with what I do, or how I do it. I have a lot of envelopes, and I have a lot of small envelopes, but I wanted to do one that's all Tim Holtz. So I decided to get my mini envelope maker out and start making envelopes. I will tell you with this board and with the larger board, a lot of the envelopes come out square. And I like to get a variety of envelopes. So these are some of the envelopes that I made, and I'll tell you how I made them. So they're just all different sizes, and for me, that's what you want when you make a journal, the stacked envelope journal. You want it all different sizes, okay? So the process that I do when I want to make a special envelope or a certain size, when I first got this punch board, I went ahead and made sample sizes. I followed the board. I wrote down what size paper I needed to cut, and normally it's a 5x5, a 6x6, a 5.5 by 5.5, that type of thing. Okay, so what I did was I made up my own. I started just punching and trying to figure out how to make it rectangle, how to make it a little bit different. And for me, it doesn't matter that this isn't pointed, for example, okay? I needed a long envelope to use on this file folder. And I wanted it kind of narrow because it's smaller. So, for example, I wrote on here that this was a 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 square piece of paper. And of course, by the time you start scoring it, I had to cut off some of the points, and that's okay. Okay, and especially it's okay when you start doing the stacked envelopes. But I just went through and made it my own. I used scrapbook paper that I didn't care for, and I just made samples. So here's a 5x5, and I noted that the first score line goes to 2 3/4. And then, as you all know, once you punch the first one at 2 3/4, okay, then you score it, then you turn the paper and you line up the score line with this little tiny point, whoops, on the punch board. And then you just keep going around. You only punch the 2 3/4 one time. Then you keep going around and you're going to score it. So you punch it to get the little notch, and then you score it down this line here. Okay, and then this is what it turns out to be. Yeah, this way. Okay, so again, some of these are pretty close to the same, which is fine with me. Some of them are rectangles. Here's a small one. Here's a long one. I think I use this one mostly. And this is a 6x6 piece of paper. And my first score line is at number 2. And then I start rotating it. Okay, and this is what I come up with. Again, the point is taller. So I'll just cut it off and line it up to the sides and glue it. Okay, so that's how I did these. And again, I just refer back to them, but I mark every envelope, you know, what size paper it is, and then where my first score line is. So that's that. And what I've done is I start lining up my envelopes, and what I need to do, because it's a little easier, is I try and match different envelopes, and then I have to remember what side the flaps are, because one's a left and one's a right. So I usually put it together like this and I clamp it. Okay. So that's what I do with this. And I made a bunch of them just now because I'm going to make several of the Tim Holtz ones. And again, it's great for just using up paper. Some of it's not to scale. Some of it is, but I like it out of scale. I mean, it looks fine. And when I say to scale, there's 6x6 papers towards the back of the Tim Holtz paper pads, the large 12x12s. So it goes, the 12x12, it goes 6x6, and then it goes with the real small squares that are in the very back. The 6x6 is pretty good because 6x6 is usually the largest envelope size paper that you'll need. Okay, so I make a stack of these, and then what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start using the taller ones for the back, and then I'll just kind of, you know, grab one just to see what it looks like, and you know, put it down. And one thing you want to watch before you start gluing your envelopes together is to see if there is a writing or something, so you don't want it upside down. Okay, so that's why I don't glue the envelopes together yet. I just want to be sure. And same with this one. See, there's writing here. I don't want it this way. This would be a left-hand envelope then. Well, I want it this way. So it ends up like that. Okay. And I found by doing the 4x6s, 3 envelopes is plenty by the time you put stuff in it. It's enough. So that's how you do the envelopes, and that's how I put them together. Okay. Then what you do is make sure they're tight and they're all down where they should be. And then I just start gluing them together. So these 3 will be glued together. And then this whole back will be glued to the manila folder. So this one would go this way. Whoops, sorry. It goes to the right. It would go this way. Okay, so it's glued to the folder right here. So all that's glued down, then it just flaps over. And this is on the edge. Okay, you do the same thing with the other side. Glue all these together. They can just be tacked, and then this all glues down to go on the left side. Okay. So that's these, and again, I put them together how I want them, and I actually paper clip them or clamp them together so that I can get it just right. Okay, so that's what I do there. And then what I do is, let me show you this one. This is the one I just completed. And I decided to leave it as a file folder. On my larger ones in my Etsy shop, I covered everything. This one, I like it as a file folder. The only thing I will cover, of course, is this inside, because underneath here is where the flaps are. So you definitely want to hide that. You can do this a couple different ways, which I've done, but you have to be careful because if you want to sew a signature in, there was one that I actually took this side and I wrapped it around the back. Okay, you can still punch through, but I'll show you how I punch through on this to get it centered. Okay, and on this side, you can always tuck it back through here also and then glue this down. But if you leave this to be a pocket, I would go ahead and cover all of the envelope flaps, because if you start sticking stuff down into it, it's going to get snagged, it's going to get hung up. So I think the best way is to just put it right on the front. Okay, you can put the ribbon or the tie underneath this one. I've started to put it in the back. I like how it kind of wraps. Again, you're going to probably punch through it when you put in the signature. But again, it's up to you. You can stick it under here, or you can just wrap it around the back and it comes around. This one, I would probably put it in here because I'm leaving this manila. Okay. So this is this one. I thought it turned out pretty cute. And then when I sew in the signature, what I'll do is I'll actually stack some books on top of it. Or if you have a flower press, you can press it in there. And it just kind of, you know, puts down the bulk of it. So let me show you this one, because this one's a little different. I use the Tim Holtz mini paper dolls. I love them. But what I did with this one is I actually left the envelope open on this side. Okay. And I'm not sure if I like that or not. So what you would normally do is you would take a piece of paper, let me see if I have one, example this, and you would just cover this. So what you're going to do is you're only going to glue here, here, and here, because you don't want to put glue here because the card needs to, you know, stick down in it. So you would only just do around the frame part. You can do a small bead right here also, but usually you won't have to, because gluing the flap in here would hold it. It would, but like I said, I normally glue it. So you can do that. But this one is all done with the opening just like the envelope. I didn't seal them up, and I didn't have to put a slit here or on the top and make a pocket. But I could go after the fact and I can still do it, but I probably won't with this one. I just made a tag. Okay, and then I just cover the flaps with this. And here's another tag here. Okay. So that's this one. And this one, I did put the tie in the back. Okay, I did punch through for the center signature, and this is the paper in the back. Okay. So that's the cover. And then what I did on the inside is I used a Tim Holtz paper for the first page of the signature. The cardstock's a little bit too much, so I didn't do all Tim Holtz. You might be able to, but I thought it'd be fun just to have different papers in it. I think here's another Tim Holtz, Abandon. You can just kind of stick one or two in. Okay. So it's just like the large one, it's just a mini. And then again, you'll glue this side closed. You can leave this as a pocket, or you can just close it up, either way. And you can decorate the inside. You can even make a pocket here and stick some paper down in there. So there's a lot you can do with it. But I like the manila folder. That's what it's made out of, and that's what I like. So that's this one. Okay. So what I normally do is I ink all the edges. I open it all up, and basically I made this one. So I did it by hand, and I made it so it's a 4x6. Okay. So I get, here's where you want to see that if it's facing the right way or not. Okay, because I don't want them upside down. So this is a right-hand sided one. This is probably how I would like it on here. So when I ink it and everything and cut these down, I'll glue these together, and then I'll go ahead and line it up and glue it down. I usually, of course, use this edge, and then you've got a little bit of manila on the edge here. You do the same thing with this side. Okay, then I go back and I cover this. You can do this beforehand. I've done it beforehand. It might be easier. So either way, but you want to cover this part of it so that you can cut it on the side or on the top as a pocket. Okay. So that's that. Then when you do this side, you want to remember to put your closure underneath here. And if you don't, you can just wrap it around the back and glue this down. So that's about all that there is to this. It's pretty simple. It's a lot of fun. But again, once I get on these kicks, I think of all kinds of different things to do. And so what I've done is I've got a lot of his wallpaper. Now, the wallpaper's narrow. They're 5 by 8s. So I didn't have too many options on how long I could make these. So I, again, just made up my own dimension with the envelope punch board. And I think it will be fine to just use any size envelope, even though it's not the right length, or not the, there's no right or wrong, but there's not any length to it. You can still use these and put them on. It would be fine. And if you want to, you can even, bring it down some. And then you can add another envelope. This is kind of big, so maybe this could go in the back, for example. So you can do all sorts of things to make it work. That's sticking out just a little bit. That's a little bit bold for me, so I would probably bring that down and then bring this up. Something like that. And again, it's a little bit long, so I can still push this one up and not show so much. And then glue it down. So that would be what that one looks like, and that would be the flap. Okay, and then I would do the same thing for this side. So that's just an idea. I've got a lot of this wallpaper, so it's a great way to use it up. And let's see. Oh, let me show you how I'll do the signature. So what I do is, for some reason, I like to do this cover first. And if you do the cover first, you're going to have a little bit of difficulty punching the hole right in the center. Some people use a book, phone book. I actually have a signature cradle that my husband made. But it still does not center it because of this, the bulk. So again, you can punch it beforehand. I just like to do it after. I like to lay this out. I like to make sure that this is pulled away from the center, etc. So what I do is I get my little piece of paper. I'll fold it in half. And then I'll lay it on the back like this. And I'll get a little pencil, and I'll just put a little tick mark right where the center is. A little tick mark. Same here. Okay. Then I go from the outside, and I go ahead and punch the holes for the signatures. I do the same thing with the signatures, the one signature. I have a bunch of paper, and what I'll do is, let's say this is the signature. I'll get the holes all lined up, and then I'll just put a tick mark to where I know where to punch the holes and center the paper on here. So I know where it goes. You could probably put the pattern on it, but I'm finding that I'm more accurate doing it that way. Once you have the holes here, I just put a tick mark, and it lines up perfectly. Okay, of course, I'll clamp the signature so all the papers are held together. But that's what I do with that. Again, you can punch the hole ahead of time. I just don't do that. But I thought this one turned out pretty cute. And then one good thing is, because the Tim Holtz paper is already decorated, I don't have to do too much to it. I do it just to break up the pattern. If it's busy or not busy, or if it needs something, then I'll go ahead and just add something onto it. Okay, so that's what this is. Let me show you one other idea that I had. I haven't done anything with it yet though, but you could really do these flips with anything. So I have a bunch of Tim Holtz larger cards, and I've covered one of them, and I'll probably cover the rest, or I'll leave them just as journaling cards. But you can do these with just about anything. So this would flip, this isn't alternating, but it just gives you an idea. And then this, and this is the last one, okay? So this would flip this way, this would come in, this would come in, this would come in, and this one. Or you can do it reverse, okay? So this would be the same way. I'd line it up here, and it would start flipping. And most of you know how to hinge, but what I do is I just make a hinge, okay? That's the envelope flap, okay? And what I do is, this is what it looks like. And actually, I said I might leave it to journal on. I will cover it because of this extension here, or this hinge. So my feeling is that should be covered. You could maybe even cover just, you know, part of it. Just tear it and cover part of it, or part of the card, and then leave this little area for journaling, that type of thing. Same with this. But that's how I attach these, and I'm going to make this up and see what it looks like, but I think it'd be kind of cute. So that's how you do that. And again, you can grab anything and do these, but the little 4x6 folder is really cute. It's a good size. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, to give you some ideas and to show you how I put them together. I'm not sure if I'm going to put some of these in my shop. I might. They're just fun to make. I might be gifting these, so I'm not sure. We'll have to see. But if you have any questions, leave a comment below, and I'll try and answer it for you. And I appreciate you watching. See you later.